How's it going, everybody? Welcome into the Sacktown Sports Kings recap. My name is Chris Watkins, joining you after the Sacramento Kings take down the Orlando Magic. Something about these two teams when they go against each other, they just play thrillers, man. All the way from last year, they showed it last year when they were in Amway Center. De'Aaron Fox walked it off with that half court shot earlier this season when Orlando came down to Sacramento. That game went into double overtime, and then tonight you see it go down to the buzzer, all the way down to the buzzer. And it was a really good game from the Kings. Definitely one that they needed after losing to the worst team in the NBA in the Washington Wizards the other night. This is exactly what everyone who's been watching this team all season long has seen. Is just, they have a weird way of performing like crap against the worst teams, and then looking like they can beat the best teams in the NBA just a couple nights later. It's really frustrating. It's hard to try and get a grasp of balancing which one means more. I mean, it's obviously not a good thing if you're capable of losing to the worst teams in the NBA, but at the same time, De'Aaron Fox has said it, and it makes a lot of sense. In the playoffs, you don't play bad teams. So as long as you're beating the good ones or showing that you're capable of playing with just about everybody, who am I to say that's a bad thing? Yeah, absolutely. A mid rock. I'm sorry, not a mid rock. Airborne musician. I wish I could play the Orlando Magic music. I am the number one supporter of the Orlando Magic music. I have confirmed that they played this song in the intros today, but I will not be playing it on the stream because I don't want to get copyright striked. So there's going to be that. Maybe I can play it in the background at some point today, but I'll try and sneak it in at some point. But this was just a great game. I think for the Kings culture. Unfortunately, Malik Monk wasn't a big part of it. He actually finished with 0 points tonight. He was 0 of 11, which I'm going to check right now, but I don't even think I need to. I'm pretty confident this is the first time Malik Monk has finished with 0 points in a game, at the very least this season, but I'm gonna stretch it out and say at least in his Sacramento career. If Malik has had, that was the lowest total. He's had 3 twice this season. I'm going to look at last year's and see if there was any game in which he also scored 0. I'm seeing one here. He scored, so this is only the second time he scored 0 points, and the other time was the second game of his Kings tenure. He scored 0 points. He only played 13 minutes. So this is only the second time Malik has ever scored 0 points. I think it's a positive that the Kings win this game without him. And a huge part of that is Keon freaking Ellis, y'all. It's crazy that we have talked about just the evolution of Keon just here recently, really only expecting things on the defensive end. We've seen him knock down some open looks from beyond the perimeter, but tonight you saw it all. Keon had a move in the paint where he kind of pump faked, did a little turnaround, had a one-handed floater. He had a step back 2. He had a couple step back 3s in there. He had a couple contested shots, couple open looks. He actually missed his open look, funny enough. I think that was his only miss from the perimeter tonight. He was spectacular. And this is one of those where we might need to see, or wait and see, I should say, on Keon Ellis's projection here, because if he's going to be capable of having games like tonight, of course, he shot really well tonight, but just to have to be more than just a spot up shooter is huge, because this team needs somebody else who can play make when De'Aaron's out there as well. He finishes with 6 assists tonight. Keon does. That's big. I mean, it's been De'Aaron and Malik as the only 2 real play initiators. Keon really wasn't bringing the ball down and setting up plays or anything, but just the wherewithal of, when he isn't shooting, he's really good at driving and then drawing the defense and kicking back out. So just really a special night for Keon Ellis. Sets a career high in points. And this is this is definitely the Keon Ellis game, 100%. Shout out De'Aaron for closing it out at the end, but this is going to be, I think, like the game with Skal Labissiere, his 30-point game against Phoenix, where You're just going to remember this one for a long time as the night where, wow, Keon Ellis really, really showed out that night. And that was his game. And, it was on both ends of the floor. He got 2 steals. I believe he had a block as well. But just really a complete offensive game out of Keon Ellis. And you love to see that. Stepping up with Kevin Huerter out, and on a night where Malik Monk doesn't have it. If Keon doesn't have the game that he had tonight offensively, the Kings don't win. I was going to say they probably don't win. They definitely would not have won tonight. They needed his shooting. They needed somebody to create something when there was nothing there, and Keon hit a lot of tough shots. So I think tonight was a really, really big night in the confidence of Keon, but also just in the general development of it. And yeah, I think I saw somebody say it, but he's literally developed. Yeah, we are watching Keon's development right in front of our eyes. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah, the refs were tough today. Keegan got 5. De'Aaron had that challenge. That both challenges were honestly terrible. Not terrible from the coach's sense, from the referee's sense. Those were 2 calls that should not have needed to be challenged in the first place. De'Aaron's block on Paolo Banchero was as clean as a block as you're going to get. I think Mark Jones said clean as hand sanitizer or something like that. Like, it was perfect. And Mike Brown had to kind of waste the timeout in order to get it. That could have been a fast break opportunity for the Kings there. The Kings did murder the Orlando Magic in transition tonight. That was really their biggest advantage. Let me get that number, what it ended up at. Katie pointed to it at one point in the broadcast, but to me, that was the key for the Kings. They were going to have to play more to the Kings' pace than to the Magic's pace. We saw the other day when the Knicks came to Golden One Center, the Kings really played Knicks basketball. It was incredibly physical, like tonight was, but they really slowed it down. They slowed their offense down. They didn't get out in transition, and tonight they didn't allow Orlando to slow it down and just really muck things. It was pretty mucky for like the second and third quarter, but it never was at the expense of the Kings offense really stagnating. They actually really consistent. Looking at it, first quarter 27 points, second quarter 27 points, third quarter 27 points, fourth quarter 28 points. So they were really consistent all game long. They played at a really good rhythm, and there was no long periods of time in which it really felt like the Kings couldn't get anything going offensively. We've seen how this team can really struggle when the shots stop falling. Tonight they really never did. It was just kind of consistently going in. They had a couple lulls here and there, but you got multiple threes out of Keegan Murray. We've been talking about why that's so important recently. Keegan was 6 of 7 tonight from 3. I don't think I realized that. You had Keon 4 of 9, De'Aaron 3 of 12, another really high volume 3-point shooting night from De'Aaron, but I think I'm okay with it ultimately because Malik just didn't have it. You only had 7 points off of your bench, and really, hats off to Orlando's bench. They kept them in the game today. Everybody. It was obviously Jonathan Isaac. He had 25 points. He had that monster run in the second quarter where he really kept the Magic in it. He kept it going a bit in that fourth quarter as well. He finished with 25 points. He was a plus 26 on the box plus minus. They kept them in the game. I'm seeing here Markelle Fultz was a plus 21. You had Cole Anthony off the bench with 16 points. That is absolutely absurd. Again, the Kings bench only produced 7 points. So it was really key for all the contributors that the Kings had tonight. They had 3 guys finish with over 20, Keon with 19, and really got the most timely buckets when they needed them. The officiating at the end of the game, or just the rhythm at the end of the game, was a little suspect. I thought that push that they called on Jalen Suggs, De'Aaron was at midcourt. It was a little late, I can't lie. It was interesting to watch the replay where the contact to De'Aaron's hip happens. The ref just sees it happen, and then once De'Aaron falls beyond backcourt is when he blows the whistle. It was a little strange. Didn't love that, and that kind of just exemplified all night. Just a really weird officiating night. And you're definitely starting to notice more and more every single night that the referees are just letting these guys play a lot more physical, like in all aspects. And I do think it's a big reason why the Kings have, frankly, played their best defense of the season. Like, it is kind of crazy that it's coinciding with the uptick in physicality, because this team has been called soft by a lot of people. I don't think they're super soft. I think I think that they are more than physical, or more than capable of being competitive. I don't know if I would say they're physical, but they are willing to take bumps and bruises and play through it. So, I don't know if that's physical, but they're definitely tenacious, and they're not afraid. That's one thing that's been very clear about this team since last year, is they do not play afraid, and that's really, I think, their best trait, and the reason why they do play really well against some of the best teams, because they really don't. I don't know if it's like almost ignorance is bliss, but they really believe every single night that they have good enough firepower to beat anybody. Yeah, really interesting here. I'm trying to see. I believe this is now 8 games in a row in which the Kings have held opponents under 112. This is, 8 games in a row. The last time the Kings allowed their opponent over 112 points was March 7th against San Antonio. So it's been pretty much 2 full weeks here that the Kings haven't allowed over 112 points, and have really, it's been huge for them. Like, during this stretch here, they are now 5-3 in their last 8 games. And again, it really feels like a big reason is because of the defense. The offense hasn't been there every night, but the fact that they're defending, like, I don't know how many times, we would have said, oh, the Kings score 109 points in a game, but they win. Let me actually look at that. Some of the lowest point totals here: 102 against Denver in a win, 103 against Memphis in a win, 105 against OKC. Those are the only wins. So this is the 4th win for the Kings scoring under 110 points. They had previously gone 3-16. They are now 4-16 in games in which they score under 110 points. So that is right there why defense is so important. Their bench didn't give you anything. The Kings, that is. You definitely just expect a certain level of contribution out of Malik Monk, and most nights that's going to kill him. That's going to absolutely be the death of him. But when you play defense, and it's a simple game, sometimes it's outscoring your opponent, sometimes it's about making your opponent score less points than you. And when you don't have it on a given night, or one of your key contributors isn't going to show up, you might need to win in a different way. And that's just not something that we've seen this team be able to do leading into this stretch here. But that's what's made this little stretch of games, this little 2 weeks as they ramp up towards the playoffs, it's what made it so impressive and so important. And it'll be interesting, man, once they start to really ramp it up here, once the competition gets better, which is coming up Tuesday. Tuesday is that first Dallas game. And then, it's another Dallas game, and then I think it's Utah, and then you got the brutal April stretch on the road, that East Coast trip, where you play Celtics, you play Brooklyn, OKC, the Clippers. It's brutal. So, it's great that they're playing really, really solid defense right now. And who knows, maybe they can take it up to another level in the playoffs. That'll be the interesting thing. And you know what? Was Sasha active today? I actually don't know if he was. He was not. So Sasha was not active again today. Right ankle sprain still. Okay, so still not getting Sasha Vezenkov minutes too. I didn't notice that tonight. I thought it was just because of game script. I honestly didn't think about it much during the game, but again, just not looking great for Sasha returning to the rotation here with him not getting, still not getting into the active pool of players. Yeah, it was definitely. I wasn't saying, and I know you're not saying that. I know you're not trying to contradict me or anything, but yeah, no, definitely not saying it wasn't a foul. It was just really really late. But yeah, it was definitely a foul. Like he got his hands on his hips, and you can definitely see that he pushed him a bit. But yeah, absolutely. Make the call when it happens. Like, that's the kind of thing that makes people feel like referees wait for results to make the call. Like, which is just not how anybody wants to live. Like, if it's black and white. Something's either a foul or it's not. There is no, well, it was a foul, but you made it, so it clearly really wasn't that much contact because you were able to finish through it. No, that's not how it works. It either is a foul or it isn't. It shouldn't matter what happens because of the contact. It shouldn't matter if, oh, De'Aaron went back court, so now I'm going to call it. No, it should be there was contact made at the point of contact. You blow the whistle because that was the point of the foul. It's just not a good look for the league, I think. I think it ultimately does raise questions of, okay, so like, are you point shaving? You know, it just is a slippery slope. So I would like to see the referees just call the fouls when they see them and not, wait for them to go down into the hoop. Or, Paolo Banchero had a ridiculous continuation today that made no sense. That needs to be fixed as well. Yeah, it wasn't great. And also, yeah, I definitely want to talk about. I think you're talking about De'Aaron here. I didn't love that three. Again, while we're talking about the end of the game, that three he took with, I think it was about 26 seconds left. I think it was before. I want to say it was before the possession where Orlando got the 3 offensive rebounds. But that three that De'Aaron took there was not good. I did not understand that at all. I don't understand why he would just take it was a pretty deep, it was probably like 2 feet beyond the 3-point line, and just kind of pulled up. Like, I think that's a shot that you take with 5 seconds left on the clock. I think that's something you can get at any point. I would have liked to see him work it around and try and get somebody an open look, maybe get an open look at the rim. It was just a really weird shot. Thankfully, it didn't end up costing them in the end, but I just thought it was like a low IQ shot. Like, it didn't make much sense. It wasn't a 2-for-1 situation or anything like that. And even if it was, because you could have maybe borderline argued it was a 2-for-1, it just didn't make sense. Funny enough, I was just watching the LeBron and JJ Redick podcast, and LeBron goes on this little mini rant about how the 2-for-1 is great in theory, because yeah, it's essentially like a free shot, but you have to factor in the things leading into that 2-for-1. Like, are you on a roll? Have you gotten a good shot? Have you missed your last 5 shots? Are you personally on a roll? Those kind of things. And it just kind of felt like De'Aaron, maybe in that moment, again, if he was going for the 2-for-1, it felt like it was just going for it for the sake of going for it and not really looking to get the best shot at a pretty crucial time in the game. This is the real Kings. Will the real Kings please stand up? I think we are too late in the season to not just diagnose this patient as this. This is who they are. They are tonight was the 70th game of the season. They are who we have seen at this point in the year. We cannot, there is no more guessing. This is a full sample size of a season here where we just know this is what they are. Every single night. I don't want to say you don't know what you're going to get, because I think we've figured out the formula at this point, but they have not played well this is probably the best 2-week stretch of consistency they've had, and it's been on the defensive end, which is surprising because there's not been 2 straight weeks of consistently good offense, but this has been 2 weeks of consistently good defense, but they have not been able to string together anything. So they've just been inconsistent all year. They play good teams really well. They get up for competition. We've also seen that they can. I don't even know if it's playing with their food, but it's just because I mean it really is as simple as when they don't make shots, they don't go in. But I would say they don't make their shots against bad teams because they're a little bit lazy in the setup, the drive and kick. I think that's why Mike Brown's been harping on the spray threes so much here recently is because they're not making shots, but the reason they're not making shots is because they're not getting super the best quality of look. They still are quality, but not in the most ideal situation. Yeah, we had some family in the building today too for the Kings front. They had Keon. They said Keon's I think grandma, mother, and brother were in the arena. I guess Keon grew up 20 minutes away. We saw Keegan Murray's dad and I think his sister sitting courtside. Might have been Keegan's girlfriend. I'm honestly not sure. Sitting courtside. And I think that was it. I don't think Malik Monk. No, Malik's from Arkansas. That's when they're in Memphis. Yeah, so definitely thought it was not a coincidence that both of those guys played really well again. Keon had the best game of his career. Great to do that in front of your family. You're always, of course, trying to show out extra. Sometimes it can lead to doing too much, but it's great when you can have people like your grandma and your mom watch you have the best game of your NBA career. That's awesome, and I hope we get to see some more of that, behind the scenes stuff because I'm sure there's some really good moments with Keon and his family today, and then Keegan as well. 6 of 7 from three, had some huge plays down the stretch at the end of the game. He hit a three after a timeout where they ran him off a DHO from Sabonis. He goes full speed to the top of the key and just drills it, and then I think he had another three as well. Off of an offensive rebound that he hit as well. That was just really timely, and those are big shots from a guy who has really struggled here as of late. Just chill, ice in his veins. Goes 6 of 7 from three. That's going to help the percentages. But I thought this was a really strong game from Keegan Murray as well. He didn't really guard Paolo Banchero much, but I think the fact that him and Franz didn't really completely kill the Kings tonight is a major, major win for both him and HB. HB had a pretty quiet night, but also a pretty HB night. I think he finished with 11, finished with 9, but had those two really important free throws at the end of the game. And he was tasked with guarding Paolo for most of it. He didn't do great against Paolo, but at the same time, that is a pretty big mismatch. Like Paolo Banchero, I saw him the Keegan Murray game or buzzer beater last year in Summer League, and instantly, I think even Mark Jones said it on the broadcast today, but TV does not do Paolo Banchero justice. He is huge. He is every bit of 6'11", probably like 215, maybe 220 these days. Like, he is huge. He is jacked. Like, he looks like LeBron James, but like a few feet taller, honestly. Like, that's the kind of build that we're talking about. He is broken. So yeah, I mean, HB is kind of in a bit of a disadvantage there. Just kind of size wise. Didn't get to watch much of college basketball. I saw the Oakland NC State game was going on during the Kings game. I think that one went into overtime. I'm pretty sure Oakland lost. That's not why anyone's here. But yeah, my bracket is destroyed, and that's why it's stupid. For real, can we get Keegan and Keon's family into every game? For real. If that's what it takes. I know Keegan's parents go to a lot of games in Sac, but I've not heard Keon's family doing anything. But Keon looked great today. And again, it's kind of like wow, this is a great nugget here from Eugene Edwards. Magic have the 6th best home record in the league tonight. Great win tonight. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a phenomenal point. I was actually looking at that number before the game. They have only lost That was their 10th loss at home this season. So they've been really, really good at home. And the Kings, for the moment, are in sixth place, ladies and gentlemen. I believe. I don't think Phoenix plays this weekend, but oh no, Phoenix is playing now. They're playing Utah. Oh, Dallas. Dallas doesn't play this weekend. That's what it is. So the Kings are going to hold at least 6 or 7 for the weekend. That's at least a minor positive to take away. But yeah, the Magic have a really good home record, and this just again improves the Kings' road record as well. They now, for the second year, 21 wins. They are going to have at least a 500 record on the road this season, which is a huge, huge accomplishment. That's, I think, a real good sign of a truly good team. The fact that this thing travels, and we saw in the playoffs last year, this team went into Golden State with their backs against the wall and won a game 6 on the road. So I don't want to discount the fact that this Kings team does play really, really well on the road and got a really big win, frankly, against a team that's a bad matchup for them. Because it's crazy how similar this Magic team is to the Pelicans. And we've seen how the Pelicans-Kings matchups go. But in terms of size, like you saw how, what's his name, Jonathan Isaac impacted tonight. Like, if this were a Magic post-game show, I would just be talking about Jonathan Isaac. That would be the entire program because he was ridiculous tonight. And you saw how his size and length, the Kings don't have a single person on their roster who can do anything like Jonathan Isaac at that size. Maybe the Kings should try and get a Jonathan Isaac. That might be something that might be explored after tonight because the way he dominated, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that's one of the first things I thought is, wow, the Kings should really try and get a guy like this. Somebody who's, I mean, he blocked Sabonis super easy. He was just disruptive all night long. I think that De'Aaron 3 that I mentioned earlier where he just kind of pulled up, I did look back at it, and I think a big reason why he pulled up was because the Kings had the floor completely spread out. Even Sabonis was in the corner from 3, and Jonathan Isaac was over there with him. And I think De'Aaron, frankly, was afraid to drive the paint, which was completely empty. I think he was afraid to drive the paint because Jonathan Isaac was just sitting right there, and he knew that he was going to impact the shot. So, hi, my cat is joining the stream today. So yeah, I definitely wondered today. I wonder if Monty McNair is taking some notes on this Jonathan Isaac kid because, yeah, we could use some of that. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Jose Alvarado and Jonathan Isaac could form like what is the Hall of Doom or whatever? Like the people who just plot against Batman and Superman. That could be Jonathan Isaac and Jose Alvarado. Is the beam lit? I see a bunch of people saying light the beam. I wonder because we didn't get to see it during this week for all the day games, so we're still pretty early here today. We might be able to see it. I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna start doing it with my three stars of the night and wrap it up here. First star. It's obviously between 4 choices. This is tough. This is really, really tough. I'm gonna honorable. This is insane. This is insane. I'm gonna honorable mention Domantas Sabonis, who ties Kevin Love's record for most double doubles in a row. And in a way, I'm kind of doing what national media is doing and downplaying in a way, or not completely recognizing how ridiculous what I'm about to say is. But 53 consecutive double doubles for Domantas Sabonis, tying Kevin Love's. I think it's what I can't remember the terminology they use, but essentially non-Wilt Chamberlain double-double streak. for Domantas Sabonis. He has a chance to set his own, I think it's shot clock era record himself with a double-double on Monday against the Sixers. So I guess I'll just have to wait till Monday to officially give Sabonis the stars. He definitely deserves it on a night where he has what he finished with 21 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists. But really, the other two guys tonight are very, very deserving. And, De'Aaron Fox obviously is getting in there as well. I'm going to give my first star of the game to Keegan Murray. Again, it feels like I should probably give Keegan more. You know what? No, I'm going to give it to De'Aaron Fox. 31 points, 10 of 20, 3 of 12 from 3. I'm going to say it's because he was too inefficient. He only missed one free throw, which is great. It was at a very unfortunate time down the stretch. Keon Ellis also missed one, so we're going to shout out Keon, but missed free throws. They only missed 3 total today, but the fact that I believe 2 of those were in the fourth quarter is kind of not the kind of progress that the Kings need. Yes, it is progress that they made 85% of the free throws, but if you're not making the most important ones, then what's the point of the exercise here? So De'Aaron, great game, 31 points, kind of returning back into star form here. It wasn't that he wasn't good leading into this, but he's had a couple 20-point games, not really many best player on the floor games. And even tonight, I don't know if he was the absolute best player on the floor, but he was really, really good for the Kings tonight. Hit a couple threes where, he did start cold again today, but did eventually get into rhythm. And hit some important shots when the Kings needed him to. I'm going to give my second star to Keegan Murray, who I just tried to give 1 star to. But the fact that Keegan's been struggling so much, again, I didn't really realize until I started the broadcast, 6 of 7 from 3 tonight. That's huge, man. That is so big. He really hasn't had that big of a performance in some time here. So it's really good to see Keegan hopefully gain some confidence. He looked unwavered today. Just looked like he was there for business. Didn't hesitate on any shot. He hit another deep mid-range shot. I think it was on Paolo as well. So it's just about giving Keegan some confidence here heading into the play, because they're going to need him. They're going to need him to be a consistent scorer for this team. Because that was always the plan, right? The plan was always for Keegan Murray to take a massive step forward in terms of his role this year. We've seen it on the defensive end. On the offensive end, he's had moments, he's had spurts, but ultimately I think they want to get to a point where Keegan Murray, every single night, they're expecting at least 15 points. And tonight he gets 16. So, the last time he really had a big game like this was against the Lakers. He had 5 threes. And before that, he had 3 against Denver at the end of February, and he was 6 of 7 in that Miami loss. So it's been a while since we've seen a performance like this from Keegan, and it really came right on time. No, man, you're tripping. I saved the best for last. Keon Ellis is getting my 3 stars of the night tonight because he did it on both sides of the floor. He's done it on both sides of he did it on the defensive side of the floor, really since he's entered this rotation. But what we were not expecting, what we have not seen, is Keon Ellis look this good, look this comfortable from 3. He looked incredible. The threes he made, again, he had a wide-ranging shot selection today. He hit some threes. He hit a couple step backs. He had that shot, little floater where he created some space for himself and got it in the paint. Got 6 assists tonight. Got 2 steals tonight. And one of them led to the highlight of the game. He stole it from a Magic player driving. Malik Monk gets the ball, lobs it up to De'Aaron Fox for another Kentucky to Kentucky lob, guard to guard, which I did kind of think about how crazy it is that we have a team that has guard to guard lobs. Not many teams have the capabilities of having 2 guys be high flyers like they do. I'm going to give massive, massive props to Keon, as I feel like I have for this entire stretch. So it was a fantastic night for him specifically. Again, you love the fact that the Kings don't waste a game like this from Keon, but also a shout out Keon for stepping up huge. Malik, I'm okay with Malik having 0 points tonight. He was 0 of 11. What was he from 3? He was 0 of 2 from 3, so really wasn't forcing it like crazy. He was a minus 22 in the box score, but I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I'm actually kind of glad that Malik sucked today because I really think Orlando wants him in free agency. It's seeming like I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast the other day. I think it might have been earlier today. And he had on an Orlando Magic fan, but also somebody who knows a good deal about it. And he essentially the entire time was pitching how Malik Monk is the perfect player for the Orlando Magic and how they should heavily pursue him in free agency. And so, Malik had that big 37-point game in Sacramento against them. If they would have had a 25-point night out of Malik today, the same way I'm here talking about Jonathan Isaac and how, the Kings can really use a guy like Jonathan Isaac and they should definitely go and Monty McNair should take some notes. They would have been saying the same exact thing if they aren't already. So if there ever is a team for Malik to score 0 points against, I'm more than okay with it being the Orlando Magic right now, especially because the Kings get a win. So, we can take that little silver lining and we can maybe just say, maybe, just maybe, Malik Monk likes the Kings so much that he was like, you know what, I'm going to eliminate this storyline completely, or I'm just going to take it out of their heads so that because I don't know, maybe Malik's like, I can't turn down $25 million per year. So the only way I can prevent that from happening is to completely tank this game. So thank you, Malik. We appreciate you. We know that you're a beamer for life. Ellis Sanity is back. Yes, it absolutely is. It took a little bit of a small break, a small little vacay, but it does feel like Ellis Sanity. Ellis Sanity. Ellis Sanity is back. Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up for this Saturday stream. Appreciate you all. Ton of you guys hopping in today. Appreciate all of the chats and definitely hope you guys join me for this first night of a back-to-back on Monday against the 76ers and then on Tuesday against the Dallas Mavericks. You can also check me out before those games from 10 to 2 on Styles and Watkins right here on Sacktown Sports 1140. You can also check it out on the old radio machine at 1140 a.m. Appreciate you all as always. I'm going to go check to see if that beam is visible. I'm also going to start cooking dinner. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend and have some sweet beams. Peace.